Hello there, I am Jaime Elizondo from Real World Ranching, where our goal is to help you achieve maximum profitability and productivity while improving your land the fastest. Maybe you already know all about how important marbling is for the beef to be a pleasant eating experience. Maybe you were taught that beef fat is bad for you. And I assure you, it is healthier for you, especially if it comes from grass-fed animals, beef, sheep, or goats. Seed oils, on the other hand, are not healthy for you, even though they have been heavily promoted as heart-friendly. You can read the Oiling of America to get an idea of what really happened. Today, I want to tell you about the huge importance of early marbling in your cattle. You see, a stored energy in the body of the animal is mostly in the form of fat. It can be fat in the internal organs, fat on the outside of the muscles close to the skin, or fat inside of the muscle, which we know as intramuscular fat or marbling. Marbling is the fat that gives us a pleasant eating experience when they are marbled enough, and when the fat comes from a grass diet, it will be higher in omega-3 fatty acids, which is seriously lacking in our Western diet. So it helps us to be healthier. It is also the type of fat that is readily available to the animal in difficult times of scarcity or when the animal is sick. It is readily accessible for the animal in those times. I believe you will understand by the end of this podcast the real importance of marbling in your cattle. For the best health in the end consumer, for the health of your cattle, for your higher productivity per acre, and for your land improvement. So if you know of someone you believe could be interested in this podcast, please share the link with them, as I would like to help as many people as possible. Number one, what is marbling? It is the intramuscular fat deposited by the animal after all the other requirements have been met, and it's why it takes time for a beef animal to finish or marble. We can usually visually tell when an animal is finished by the lumps of fat in various parts of the body, of their bodies, like in both sides of the tail set, in the brisket, the vertebra covered with fat, etc. It makes the juiciness of the beef more pronounced and usually gives a better flavor when consuming it. Why do I say usually? Because at least to me and my family, a very fatty cut from grain-fed beef is not pleasant, as it leaves a greasy feeling in your mouth after consuming it, while a grass-fed beef leaves a very pleasant taste in the mouth after consuming it, apart from the healthier benefit it gives. And here I'm talking about the fat. 2, grass-fed beef. Grass-fed beef, when it's marbled enough, is high in omega-3 and conjugated linoleic acid. We need to know that the ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 plays an important role in our health. Both are fatty acids, and the ratio between them should be as close to 1:1 as possible. And in our Western diet, it can be up to 20 parts of omega-6 to 1 part of omega-3. And omega-3 is the fatty acid that makes most of our brain. It is that important. While omega-3 fatty acids helps lower body inflammation, omega-6 fatty acids, when out of whack in the ratio, increases body inflammation. Hence, the importance of their correct ratios in our diets and bodies. Omega-3 fatty acids come from green grass-fed beef or milk. It can also come from seaweed, ocean fish, and others in smaller quantities. And remember, we need large amounts of it for our well-being. And then comes conjugated linoleic acid, which is present in grass-fed beef and milk, but almost none in grain-fed beef or milk. Conjugated linoleic acid, or CLA, has been proven to help prevent cancer, and with the rates of cancer we are seeing today, it is very important to consume enough of it. Okay, well, those are the health reasons we should consume grass-fed beef, and I want to talk about another important reason. Producing grass-fed beef is cheaper to produce, and it can be done while regenerating our land. To achieve this in a low-cost way, we need animals that marble early. 3. Early marbling will help your cattle. Animals that are early marbling will have stored energy earlier in their lives to access when they are under duress. Early marbling is also related to early sexual maturity. So when we select for it, we are also selecting more productive per acre animals. Early marbling and early sexual maturity come together. Modern selection for higher and higher feed efficiency has not taken this into account, and their methods and trials to find the most efficient animals takes their genetics to less marbling and more lean beef. Why is this? It is because fat requires much more energy than lean beef to form or produce. It will also release more energy when the animal is under duress and needs that energy. Therefore, a fat animal with intramuscular fat will survive on less feed than a lean animal in difficult times. Totally the opposite of what your females need for estrogen production. By this I mean lean animals is totally the opposite of what your females need for estrogen production, which is the feminine hormone that they need to cycle and get pregnant early. So that is not very good science. At the same time that they are selecting for better feed conversion, they end selecting for leaner beef animals, and that comes together with later sexual maturity and lower productivity per acre when out in the real world where low inputs are needed to survive nowadays. Cattle are prey animals, and prey animals' main defense against predators, famines, diseases, and pests is their high reproductive rate. Selecting for late maturity in cattle goes against nature, and it's explained in detail in the Adapted Genetic Selection Guidelines online course. We call a late maturing animal a hormone imbalance animal, as their puberty, when the sexual hormones appear, was delayed, and the growth hormones kept the animal growing in height. Now you see how important early maturing and early marbling is? 4. Higher productivity per acre of early marbling, early maturing animals or females. With late maturing females, they will have their first calf when they are 3 to 4 years old. With early maturing females, they can have their first calf when they are 2 to 3 years old. And having a herd of later maturing animals means that you will need to feed a whole generation for another year without getting any production out of them. This translates to less pounds of weaned calves per acre per year for your property. Remember, early marbling goes along with early sexual maturity, and lean beef goes along with late sexual maturity. 5. Land improvement. To improve the land on which your livestock graze with their hooves, manure, saliva, and urine, we need them to maintain their body condition under the total grazing program, even at very high stocking rates. Animals that are efficient converters of grass to pounds of weaned calves per acre are needed, and only those that can do this at high to very high stocking rates with low inputs will help while maintaining their individual performance adequate. My total grazing program students know this, and they are getting the results. It is great when you can see the whole picture and know what steps to take to get you where you want. You can do it too. You can make your dreams reality. Conclusion and recap. 1. Marbling is a deposit of fat in the muscle or intramuscular fat, and it gives the best eating experience for the end consumer. 2. Grass-fed beef fat. It is high in omega-3 fatty acids and conjugated linoleic fatty acids, which is needed for human health. Omega-6 fatty acids occur in grains and seed oils, and we need a ratio of close to 1-to-1 of both omega-3 and omega-6. The Western diet is sorely lacking in omega-6, which occurs in green grass, meat and animal products from animals that are grazed, and on seaweeds, ocean fish, and others. Grass-fed beef is also cheaper to produce than grain-fed beef, especially when you take into account the real cost of producing the grain. And grass-fed beef is high in conjugated linoleic acids, which helps prevent cancer. 3. Early marbling helps your cattle. By being easily accessible, intramuscular fat can be used on an emergency by the animal to survive or maintain productivity. The way feed conversion efficiency trials are set up is not correct, as they favor the lean and later maturing animals, which will make females that will be lean and high maintenance when they are out in the real world, where low inputs are a necessity to be productive. Early marbling comes from early sexual maturing animals, which means they have better balance between the appearance of their sex hormones at puberty and their influence on the group of growth hormones. 4. Higher productivity of weaned calves per acre for your property. You can produce more pounds of weaned calves per acre with early maturing females than with late maturing females. And this is because you do not have to wait an extra year for them to start producing, as is needed with late maturing females. Late maturing females, when they are young, they will occupy the space or feed that other productive animals could be making use of. 5. Land improvement. If we want to improve our land the fastest while increasing our forage and beef production, we need early sexual maturing animals that can maintain their good body condition and productivity even at very high stocking rates under the total grazing program, where they are not pampered in any way. This is paramount for success. Well, that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Thank you and see you next time. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast in Spotify, iTunes, or YouTube. You can also join us on the weekly email at www.rwranching.com/join. See you next time.